Today we're going to see some of the new PDF document annotation types that are available starting with Xojo 2022 Release 2. Let's start with the new annotation type that allows us to embed any kind of file, except bundle type files, to our PDF documents. So that's the data of the file that will be part of the created PDF document itself. This means that the size of the PDF will increase as much as the size of all of the embedded files we want to attach to it using this kind of annotation. When using this, the user opens the document in the Viewer app and will be able to double-click the annotation area in order to open the attached file using any compatible app that may be installed on their computer. So here's an example. If we attach an Excel spreadsheet file to our document, the user will need to have a compatible app on their computer with such file format. So let's see this in action through this example project. Here we're going to select an Excel file that will be attached or embedded to the PDF document. Now when we click the Create PDF File in order to save the PDF file to disk and open it using Acrobat Reader, we can see how this kind of annotation is detected so you can use it as you do with the regular annotations. So you can still add replies to it or set the annotation status. Additionally, when we double-click the annotation area, then the associated file will be opened using an external app. In this case, on Mac OS, the attached Excel file is opened using the Numbers app from Apple. A second type of annotation you can start using in your PDF documents are the Callouts annotations. These are annotations you want to add to a page for grabbing the user's attention and pointing to any other item in the PDF document page. Let's create a PDF document that uses the callout annotation. As you can see here, when the document is opened using Acrobat Reader, the callout annotation is displaying the associated text and pointing to the element that we set via the code when we created this instance. You can set the background color for the callout annotation text box, the type of line used, like the dashed line that we used in this example, and also the type of termination for the starting point of the line in the callout. And because it's an annotation, we can change the text box for the annotation and also set the annotation status. Here, the PDF is not protected and the user will be able to change the place of the annotation in the page or any of the points for the callout line and also the size of the text box. Going back to the example project, we can see the code required to create these kinds of annotations. The first step is creating a new PDF callout instance, providing the 3 points required to draw the callout line, plus the width and height values for the text box. Then we can set the available properties for the PDF callout class to set the border style for the dash pattern that we'd apply if the selected border style is dashed, and also the drawing color, the text for the annotation, the font size, and the style that will be applied as the termination for the line. Then we add the PDF callout instance to the current page of the PDF document, calling the add callout method on the PDF document instance and passing along the PDF callout instance as its parameter. A third kind of annotation we can add to our PDFs, starting with Xojo 2022 R2, is the video annotation. This kind of annotation will embed the data of the provided video file as part of the PDF document itself, and it will be played from the PDF document. That is, from the PDF page it has been added to without requiring the use of an external app. In order for it to work, the provided video file needs to be encoded as MP4 format. Once we create the PDF file using the Example Project app, and it's opened using the Acrobat Reader Viewer app, we can see how the embedded video starts playing when we double-click on the annotation area. The next annotation we're going to take a look at is the line annotation. These kinds of annotations will let us add a line of any given length to the current page of the PDF document. Additionally, such line can have terminations at both of its sides, plus 2 leader lines and an associated text that can be displayed above the line or as part of the line itself. So let's create a PDF document that uses this kind of annotation to easily see how it's displayed in the PDF document page. Once we open the generated document using the Acrobat Reader, we can see how this annotation is displayed using the values set in code. This kind of annotation is really useful to add the measure over any other item in the page. Additionally, we can see here that the annotation text is rendered as part of its own line, and we set an arrow termination to both sides of the line, plus using 2 leader lines that are used as visual clues of the item we want to narrow down. Of course, if the document is not protected, we can modify any of the line properties like the length, text position, or leader lines. And because it's an annotation, it's possible to add new replies to it or change its status. And one last thing. Now all of the annotations include the modification date and time as part of their metadata. This is something really useful in order to follow up in the log of an annotation that has several replies added to it. That's all. As you can see, the support of annotations has been greatly increased starting with Xojo 2022 Release 2. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please ask them below.